Today, I'd like to speak about something that it's been coming up in my conversations quite often, and I felt like it's a good place for me to share it in the context of self-care. Um, Most of the time, what we speak about on this channel is prioritizing yourself and putting yourself in a position that your self-care can always be prioritized, right? And I noticed that a lot of times we worry and we concern ourselves with things that are so out of our control. Hey, welcome to another video. Welcome to the Bajo channel. This is the home of self-care, beauty, wellness, and any and everything that'll help you to become the most empowered version of you. Today, I'd like to speak about something that it's been coming up in my conversations quite often, and I felt like it's a good place for me to share it in the context of self-care. Most of the time, what we speak about on this channel is prioritizing yourself and putting yourself in a position that your self-care can always be prioritized, right? And I noticed that a lot of times we worry and we concern ourselves with things that are so out of our control. And I am here to say that when we do that you are spinning your wheels. It's an exercise of despair and frustration. And I wanted just to kind of speak with you about a few reasons why most of the things that you are so overwhelmed about and so concerned about, in the larger scheme of things, they're not important. So I made a little list to kind of help us to come back to our center and kind of bring us into a better perspective about our lives, right? One reason why you shouldn't be spinning your wheels or over concerned about things that you really have no control over. One, as time goes by, time shrinks importance. You ever notice how when you were so overly concerned about a certain situation, and as time went by, it seemed to diminish, that importance of that thing seemed to diminish? And I'm not saying everything, but a great number of things lose its importance as time go by. And that's because it really wasn't that serious in the first place. You have to take this bird's eye view. Get out of that situation, come away from it for a moment and take a look, a real objective look at what you're really spinning your wheels about. And most times than not, it's not that serious. I will share something with you. When I reflect on my life, I spent so many years belaboring things that I had no control over, or trying to change things that I had no control, no jurisdiction over. And the things that I could change, I didn't really want to because it was too much, which was myself. When I think about our self-care journey, I just feel like it's an important place for you to pause and take a look, right? I want you to take a look and see how important this thing really is in the larger scheme of things. Not in the moment, but in the larger scheme of things. When I look at my life in the larger scheme of things, I look at where I want to be ultimately. My ultimate goal in life is to live my life in a way that God is pleased with me. That's my ultimate goal. So that's my grand scheme. My grand scheme. But underneath those things are, I want to be a great mother. I want to be a great grandparent. I want to be a person that empowers others. Grand schemes. What happened is we spend so much time on the small scheme that you can't really give energy and give attention to what really matters. And I wanted to remind you today to step out of the situation often, even if it's for a minute, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes, just so you can be at a different vantage point, so you can see the situation, not yourself always being in the mix. So one of the main reasons that I can bring myself out is because I understand that in a year's time or in a month's time, sometimes even in a week's time, this thing is not that serious. But you're blowing a gasket in your body. You busting blood vessels and raising blood pressure, and hypertension and cholesterol levels are soaring because you can't separate yourself from that moment. Remember that time diminishes importance on those trivial matters. Another thing is you have to realize that you have limited control over so many things. Focus on the things that you have control over. Yourself, what you think about, what you're eating, if you're going to exercise or not, if you're going to do that project with the fullness or not. Like, focus on those things. When you choose to see yourself in a way, right? You have to see yourself in a way to know that I can't do everything. That is one of the biggest misconceptions and destroyers of your self-care journey, is being under the illusion or believing that somehow you can control everything around you, and you cannot. Most of the time, you can't even control a lot of things with yourself. If it's hard for you to control, think about that. How hard it is for you to really control yourself. For you to stop doing certain things that you want to do, or even start doing things that you want to do. You know how hard it is to start yourself on a certain regimen and stay consistent at it? That energy and that willpower takes a lot from you. Let alone trying to control other things that you just have no control over. Those things destroy your ambition towards your self-care, or it destroys your focus. You taking care of you is one of the best gifts that you could give yourself. And understanding that you have limited control is a check in that box of understanding self-care. You can't control everything. Step away. Another reason is that as time passes, your perspective expands. Your perspective expands. That thing that you're belaboring and that you're about to blow a blood vessel or bust a blood vessel over, as your perspective expands, you realize that's not that important. That's not where I should be spending my time. I'll give you an example. You ever been in a relationship and you were so head over heels, like you was going bonkers over somebody and you just couldn't eat, breathe, sleep, and you didn't know what you could do. You didn't know what you would do without them. And you break up. You're devastated. As time passed and your perspective shift about the whole situation, it really wasn't that serious. You didn't even know why you stayed that long anyway. You start, your whole perspective is like, but I'm the prize. Wait a minute. I was the one adding value to this situation. You understand? Perspective changes that larger scheme of things. Step out of your situation and look into it. Remove yourself. Because when you emotionally vested in something so deeply, you can't even see the trees from the forest. You can't see beyond your emotional state. And one other reason, and I'm going to let you go on this one, but this is the major one for me. Constant change is inevitable. We live in a world that is constantly changing. We are constantly changing. Everything is changing, right? This is the one that makes me like really fall back and shut it down. Anything that I'm belaboring and I can't control, and I'm spinning out of, control. Everything is constantly changing. Here we go. Got one for you. In the next 20 years, maybe even 5 years, the world that we're living in now is going to be completely different. I pray God that we're still here. But 5 years, 1 year's time, it's going to be different. How about this? 50 years time. It's going to be a whole new world, whole new people, whole new babies, whole society, whole new president, whole new everything. Everything, it changes. That's one of the reasons why I love history so much. I love history because I look at societies and civilizations and how they done things then. And when I look back and I see certain things, I'm like, wow, they used to do it like that. But at that time, that was innovation. When we look at our iPhones now, when we look at everything that we have, the AI and the all of these revolutionary things, we are so excited and it's so revolutionary at this time. In the next 5 years or 1 year or 10 years, they're going to be antiquated and dated and out the window. That being said, everything that you're belaboring and going bananas and spinning and losing your mind over is not that serious. The things that are that serious, that you have control over, deal with those things. And to those that you don't, pray, give it to God, go ahead on to sleep. Get your rest, darling. Because it's going to be the same in the morning. Because you don't have control over it. And that's one of the biggest things that I want to share. Know those things that you don't have control over and have the courage to let it go. Have the humility to let it go. You can't do everything. Contrary to what you might believe about yourself, you cannot. And when you continue to try, you're going to continue to be met with this agony and frustration and disappointment and sadness. And that, my darling, is detrimental to your self-care journey. You have to learn how to see things in the larger scheme, in the grand scheme. Step back. Sometimes you got to catch yourself like you're doing too much. Too much is going on. Pull back. It's not always being engaged into something. Sometimes the greatest thing you could do is pull back and sit back and control yourself. That you can control. Pull back. Because whatever it is that's in your power to do, you do that. And whatever it is not, release it. And if you can't tell the difference, you need to pray. Pray. Ask God to direct you and show you what you need to do. Because I'm telling you, that's the fastest way to burning out, depression, anxiety. Because you're doing things that you have no control over. You're doing things that you really don't, you can't really move it to the left or to the right. You have no control. And to come into that acceptance, I think, is a wonderful level of maturity and growth that we all have to, and we're constantly working towards. That's what this channel is about. Self-care is the best care. If you can't remove yourself from certain things that's hurting you or that is driving you down and making you feel less than who you really are, you have to have the courage and the humility and the wisdom to back it up and look at things from the grand scheme of things, not in the moment. This is the Bajo channel. I thank you for listening. We are here to empower you and just remind you of how amazing, how awesome you are. This is the Bajo channel, the home of self-care, beauty, wellness, and any and everything that'll help you to become the most empowered version of you. And remember that self-care is the best care. Later.